And this is Naloxone Training saving lives, because you will be able to recognize an opiate overdose and then help someone. Next. So the training, we're going to talk about the New York State overdose law. We're going to talk about what's an overdose, who's at risk, how to recognize, what is naloxone, how do you use it, and then report and refill. If I'm going too fast, let me know. The health law protects you. When saving someone's life by using Narcan, it does not mean that you're practicing a medical profession. You're saving someone's life, and this law protects you. So you don't have to worry that you can be sued, you're held liable, nothing like that. This law protects you, and we'll talk about the Good Samaritan law also. If you have any questions, just jump in. So what's an overdose? See what happens? Your brain has receptors, just like that. And when the opiates sit on too many receptors, that causes an overdose. When it sits on you, you get high and you feel good. Too many causes the overdose. And what happens? The brain can't send messages to your lungs to breathe. Your veins fill up with opiates, so the blood can't get through. Your heart rate slows down for it to stop. That's the overdose from the opiates. As you see, it sits on the receptors. Okay. So, risk factors for an overdose. Using alone. I know Susan and the officers talked about if someone's away in treatment, if someone puts their drugs down, goes on vacation, just says, I'm not going to use, tolerance lowers as quick as 72 hours. And then what happens is people don't realize that their tolerance is low, and they'll take usually the same amount that they used before they stop. And they can stop for a gazillion reasons. And that causes an overdose. They don't realize how much they're using. The body can't sustain that much. And like we said, there's fentanyl in everything. If a person has had 2 to 3 non-fatal overdoses in the past, that raises their risk of their next overdose being fatal. So, signs of an overdose. If you come across someone who's unconscious, you go hello, 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 and they're unresponsive to outside stimuli, I'm getting my Narcan hit and I'm saying it's an overdose. It could be a heart attack, it could be anything. But where I'm coming from, it's an overdose because Narcan, as we talked about, can't hurt you. So if you come across someone and they had a heart attack, you don't know, you give them Narcan, you can't hurt them. It won't help, but it won't hurt. So you don't have to worry what they take, what did they use. You could just give them the Narcan and you will not hurt anyone. If they see the sternum, if you're not sure that they're not reacting to you going, hello, 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 shaking them, if you take your knuckles and you right here, press it right here, it's a sternal grind, sternal bone, it's painful. Anything other than unconscious, they're going to move. They're going to have some movement because it's painful. So if you come across someone and they're unconscious, you don't believe it maybe, and you give them the sternal grind, no response, it's probably an overdose. If their breathing is slow, shallow, erratic, I'm going to the overdose. I guess that's just how I'm finding right now. Also, the choking or gurgling sound or gasping sound, deep snoring. So if you know someone is active, see, I was training the RAs, resident assistants at Sarah Lawrence College, and I'm giving them all Narcan. And I told the RAs, if you go into someone's room and you hear them snoring, don't just assume it's a sound sleep. You can't assume this anymore. Go in and shake them and wake them up. If they get annoyed, okay, tough. But you have to go in and be proactive. You got to shake them because that's a real telltale sign. If there's a deep snoring, if their arms are limp, and if their skin, as he said before, is cold or clammy, or blue or purplish tinge to the nails or the lips. Now, someone asked me when I was training, do you have to go through all of these before you give Narcan? My answer is no. You come across someone who's unconscious, I'm giving them Narcan. Just giving.
Well, it only takes a minute or less to go through all these.
Right. So, what?
How much time are you dealing with?
Yeah,
You
30
gotta
seconds
put
you
it
can go
back
through
up.
Right, that's right.
How much time do you have to?
You want to give it to them as soon as possible, right? But people don't, they don't know. So they want to know if you have to go through all of these, after all these signs. As far as I'm concerned, the first, you're unconscious, you have to know first. So I have time to tell one quick story. I was in Westchester and they were doing this. They do this yearly thing and they have people come and speak and the whole town was there. It was a little hot out. And all of a sudden a young kid, he drops. And I was like, who has Narcan? Because in my head, it's an overdose. Well, his parents looked at me. The police rushed to him. The EMTs rushed to him. He fainted. Maybe he didn't have enough to eat. But my reaction was, I start screaming, get the Narcan, get the Narcan. But you know what? Get the Narcan. Next, please. So how does Naloxone work? Can you go one more, just for 1 second? When the opiates sit on the receptors in the brain, when you give Narcan, it knocks them off and it cracks the receptors. It only stays on 30 to 90 minutes. And we don't know who's 30 and who's 90 and everything in between. And then after the time when it decides to come off the Narcan, it comes off. And then opiates floating around and go back on top. You want to go back to the start?
Does that mean you might have to give it more than once?
1 second. When you give someone Naloxone, we talk about the steps and how you do it. Within 2 to 3 minutes, there should be some sort of reaction. Something. That's how fast it works. Now, when we talk about fentanyl, one kit, which has 2 of these, might not work because fentanyl is stronger than heroin opiates, right? So these 2, that's why when we talk about the steps, we call 911 first. Also, Naloxone can cause withdrawals. They're uncomfortable, but they're not life-threatening, and the person can't die from it. They'll just be annoyed because remember, they were getting high and feeling good. Next thing, they're on the floor with people probably looking over them saying, you overdosed. But I want you to know that you just give them the Narcan. It won't hurt them. Next. Okay, so the action steps, what do? You come across someone, hello, immediately call 911, and then you get your Narcan. So what you do is you tilt the person, go to the next, thank you. What you do is you get the Narcan, take it out of this little pouch, just like a nasal spray. And all you do is you tilt the person's head back, and you do this. That's it.
Up their nose.
Up their nose. You put the plunger right up their nose and you press it. Don't test it first. Don't see how much is in it. Just put it right up against their nose and spray it because that's all you've got. And then you put them in the recovery position. Because when someone is in overdosing, it also relaxes their gag reflexes. So they won't be able to gag because the Naloxone causes withdrawals, and one of the parts of withdrawal is throwing up. So if they're on their back, they can choke. We put them in the recovery position. Any thoughts, questions? Could you go to the slide before? This works within 2 to 3 minutes. If you get no response within 3 minutes, you take out the second pack. They're on their side. You put them on their back. You tilt their head, and you use the other pack, put the nostril right up their nose and nostril, and spray it back into the recovery position. The other nostril. Use the other nostril. Yes.
What if the person isn't overdosing and someone thinks they are and they do that? What does the person experience if they go through?
Withdrawals.
No, just a regular person that,
Oh, nothing.
and say you make
Nothing.
it doesn't do
Nothing.
anything.
Nothing at all. Sorry. will do absolutely nothing. That's why I say you can't go wrong with uses. You don't have to worry. Just give it to a person, which you can start their breathing.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Because that must be the longest 2 to 3 minutes ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing this, now the person's still unresponsive,
Right.
and then you're going, oh my God, I gotta wait till. What if they had a heart attack and really need CPR?
Okay.
Too bad.
I don't know. You have to call 911.
I know, with 911, they take 10 minutes to get there.
If you know CPR and you're certified and you know it, that's up to you. Would I do mouth to mouth on a stranger? No. Because A, you don't know nowadays, COVID. And also fentanyl is so strong that if I give mouth to mouth to someone and they've got fentanyl in the system and I breathe and then inhale, I can overdose.
Mhm.
So the best thing might be chest
Chest
compressions.
compression.
Chest compressions if you know how. That's why I don't really talk about that, because I don't know how 100%. Yes.
Person overdose, how much time is there as they become non-responsive before
They die?
Narcan will be active? Is it 10 minutes, a half hour?
So you're saying, for the person, I come across someone who's unconscious, I give them the Narcan, how, no?
So you come across someone who's unconscious, EMT doesn't know if it's fentanyl, they do whatever they would normally do, and then you use the Narcan. Is there like a time frame that Narcan will bring someone back? Like, is it 10 minutes, a half hour, an hour?
They should feel the Naloxone, Narcan, within 2 to 3 minutes.
How long can they be in the overdose state?
Oh, it all depends. See, overdose on heroin, someone can go 2 to 3 hours. But from the time they take the drug and then it's an overdose, they become unconscious, till someone gets to them, would be 2 to 3 hours.
And
Then
then
you're looking
then-
at, brain damage, you're starving the brain clot. If somebody's not breathing that long, it's, it's a serious situation.
But if someone was unconscious for an hour and Narcan,
Would it help?
would it?
It should help, absolutely.
But how are you gonna know if they're unconscious for an hour? That's the whole thing. You come upon someone, you don't know how long they've been
Yeah, if they're
unconscious.
all gray, it's probably.
Or if you go in your son's bedroom and he's unconscious, and he's snoring or gurgling, then you just use it.
Right, just use it.
Yeah, you have to, because you don't, no one's never, unless you see the person taking the drug, you're not gonna see that they have an overdose.
But that's a good question. Narcan works. No matter when you give it, it should work, except if they passed on, or they've used fentanyl and we don't know, and the two might not work, but just give it. Does that answer your question? You kind of sort of, so let's try it again.
No,
Sure? Okay.
I've recently lost
I'm sorry.
someone, and there was questions that Narcan wasn't used, or was it used? Did they do any mouth to mouth? Was there evidence there? And he died. And so I'm trying to put a few, besides phone calls and text messages that nobody answered, to then have someone go in and find him, then what transpired. But I was wondering if there's a time frame that would work. Like, can you be unconscious for 2 hours and then Narcan could work?
Maybe.
And they have to still be breathing.
They have to be breathing.
Right.
Right.
They're not breathing.
Some of those answers I don't have quite yet.
Right. Right, and I'm sorry.
So,
Do not wait more than 5 minutes to give the next dose. The first dose should have a reaction 2 to 3 minutes. If not, move them back, tilt their head, put the second spray up the other nostril, but don't wait more than 5 minutes. It only works if the person has opiates. If you come across someone who's unconscious, you don't know, just give them one. We don't have to wait to figure out what they use. Like I said, it will only work if there are opiates present. Next. So this is the picture. The steps. Next. The Good Samaritan law, if you don't know it, you have college kids, young kids, you should tell them about the Good Samaritan law. Good Samaritan law protects all of us. So if I'm with someone and they overdose, I call 911 and I get them help, I won't be held liable. Kids that are underage drinking, if someone is sick and they call in the ambulance, the police, they won't be charged with anything. If your people are getting high and someone overdoses, they call the police, but they've got narcotics. If it's less than 8 ounces, you won't be prosecuted because you called for help. If you're sharing drugs or possessing paraphernalia, you will be arrested. So this is something that you tell your college age kids, your young kids, and some adults don't know. Call 911. Next, the Good Samaritan law will not protect you if you have more than 8 ounces of a controlled substance, sale or intent to sell a controlled substance, open warrants for your arrest, or violation of probation or parole. You will not be protected.
I think it begs to be said that, 8 ounces of a powder is
It's a
like
lot.
you're dealing drugs. That's a lot of drugs.
They don't-
What does that translate into, like say, oxycodone or hydrocodone
Okay, can I
pills?
answer? You have the glass measuring cups. Everyone has one. Glass measuring cups, the writing on it, red writing. Any, you see the line, the 8 ounce line? Anything below that 8 ounce line. So you can have that thing filled, a lot of pills. How many? A lot of pills. As long as it's under that 8 ounce line, you're free and complete. Should be filled with 10. As long as it's below that 8 ounce. It's a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs, less than 8 ounces. Next.
Sure, that's not 8 ounces of gas.
8 ounces, that's what it says, 8 ounces of
8
product.
ounces of gas. Whether 8 ounces of fluid or there's 8 ounces of weight, which is that?
I will have to look that up.
I would guess it could be, I would guess
It
it
should be weight, so it's not, I don't think it's.
Well, I'm using the measuring cup as a visual,
Anyway,
so that people get an idea of what that looks like. But I'll have to look that up, because I want to know for sure. Thank you. So you keep the Naloxone in the original package, you can take it out of the box, and you can just, that's kind of bulky, so if you're gonna carry it with you, take it out of the box and put the 2 in, and then carry it like that. It has to avoid exposure to extreme temperature. So don't put it in the dashboard of the car, and don't put it in the glove compartment. Heat or cold, extreme hot or cold. You want to have easy access. And a lot of people that I train, they say, well, I don't know if I'm really going to need it or use it or what, because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know your friends, your college age friends, kids, they come over. We don't know. So you have it. And you let your family know that just in case you need it, this is where it is. And if you need it, that's my phone number. You want to write it down, or my cards. If you need more, you use it, just call me and I'll get you an indication. And also we have, which we should send out to Howard, we could send to you a flyer of when we have Naloxone Training on Zoom. And then we'll mail you the Naloxone. Next. So why do we do this? And why we're so glad that you're here? To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be one world. I think that sums it up. Sue, Stephen, myself, Howard, Christensen, everyone else who comes out to be trained, you could be the world to one person. So that's why I'm glad that you stayed. Thank you. Next. And these are resources. As Susan said, we're family support navigators. We work with families who have someone who's using, a friend, family, anyone, questions, help you navigate treatment, whatever you need, you can call us. Here's our phone number and our email. That's the training.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.